The Poetry Center bringing poetry to Paterson since 1980 at Passaic County Community College.
Eileen Van Hook has had poetry published in various literary journals and anthologies. She placed first in a poetry contest in Writer's Journal, is a Pushcart Prize nominee, and received an Editor's Choice Award in the 2015 Allen Ginsberg Poetry Contest. Eileen lives and writes in the wilds of northwestern New Jersey, and it is kind of the wilds of northwestern New Jersey. And I believe that she also won this year second place in the Allen Ginsberg Awards. Let's welcome Eileen Van Hook.
Thank you, Maria. The Guardian. For a time, my grandmother lived downtown in an apartment over a candy store. She sublet one of the bedrooms to a man whose privacy she breached whenever possible. She snooped in drawers, shuffled through mail, left no stone unturned, no trust unbroken. When her prying became tiresome, she would plop in the chair by the window, poke at her failing African violets while watching over the foot traffic below, alert for improper dress, rowdy behavior, or, if lucky, public displays of affection. It was dark and dismal domain where Grandma reigned, with the unwavering wrath of the righteous, complaining of her lack of visitors.
Okay, now I think we're going back into alphabetical order. Okay, our next reader is going to be Fred Aiuchi, and Fred lives in Mahwah, New Jersey, and in just a minute, if I can just follow, here it is. Fred Aiuchi was born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens, and currently lives in Mahwah. The father of two adult sons, he retired in June of 2014 after 40 years as a Spanish and Italian teacher, the last day as language department coordinator. This is the third time he's been published in the Paterson Literary Review. He's currently an adjunct professor at the St. Thomas Aquinas College in Spark Hill, New York. And I have to say one thing about Fred, and that he happens to be one of the most generous, most charming people I have ever met. He was my son's Spanish teacher in high school. And a long, long time ago, I don't remember how we met again, but what I remember most about Fred is that he has a birthday party, and he must have had 300 people at his birthday. I don't even know 300 people who would come to my birthday, but he had about 300 people at his birthday party, which tells you something about how people love him and his students, how much his students love him, and I bet they miss him tremendously. Let's welcome Fred.
Thank you, Maria, for all your encouragement and help. She has a wonderful staff here. I'm very honored to be in the publication again. This poem came out of a poetry class. The assignment was to write about a vegetable, and you'll see what came out. Broccoli rab. Ma, oh, how I hated when you cooked that green broccoli rab. When I was a child, I thought it tasted bitter and smelled worse. When he saw me on 112th Road, our Sicilian peddler neighbor, Mr. Masoni, would say, "Tell your mother I have nice broccoli rab today." When I came home to tell you, you would send me right back with a few rolled up dollars in my hand to Mr. Masoni's garage, from where he would sell his fruits and vegetables to his neighbors. I would cut through the path in our backyard that led directly to the Masoni's yard, approach their cellar door and yell out, "Mr. Masoni!" And that nice wrinkled and stooped over old man would slowly climb the stairs, greet me with a big smile, and lead me to his dark, cool garage full of green, orange, red, purple, and yellow vegetables and fruits. After he died, Lucy, my friend Joanne's mother, would buy your favorite vegetable for me in the Asian market on Springfield Boulevard, and I would carry it home to you as if I were bringing you gold. I still laugh when I remember the time you were so furious with me about something I did or said that to punish me, you declared, "Tell that lady not to buy me any more of that Brooklyn Ab." Didn't you realize you were punishing yourself and Daddy? Or was my punishment the embarrassment you perceived I would suffer by telling Lucy about your anger towards me? Oh, how Lucy, Joanne, and I laughed when I told them. At that time, the Isley Brothers had a hit song called "Who's That Lady?" So we started calling Lucy that lady, and we forever associated that song with your rejection of Lucy's Brooklyn Ab. You, Daddy, and your rageaholic father, my grandfather, got so excited about this dish, the green leaves shrinking and drowning in the generous amounts of olive oil and garlic you used to saute it. You would serve it over stale, dry tarali, spiced with fennel and pepper, and slurp up every last drop of that juice. I gagged at just the thought of it. And I was embarrassed by how you relished eating this peasant dish. As I aged, I required a taste for that delicacy you masterfully prepared in our kitchen in Queens Village. Ma, today, just 2 years to the day of your burial in Farmingdale, Long Island, I would kill for a dish of your tasty olive green Brooklyn Ab, prepared with skill and love, and served proudly to everyone who came to eat at your dinner table. Thank you.
Next, Lainey. Is Lainey here? I didn't see her, so I'm assuming she didn't arrive. Lainey Sutton Johnson. How about Ted Jonathan? Yeah, right there in front of my nose. I almost didn't see you. Okay. Ted Jonathan lives in New Jersey. His collection of poems and short stories, Bones and Jokes, was published by New York Quarterly Books in 2009. His poetry collection, Run, was published by New York Quarterly in 2016. He's real glad to be making another appearance in PLR. He can be reached at theodorejohn@yahoo.com. And let's welcome Ted Jonathan. I'm not quite sure, but I was trying to turn you into a Swede.
Why not?
I kept trying to say your name as though you were Swedish, and it just didn't work.
Well, the reason that probably didn't work is
Because you're not Swedish.
I'm not Swedish. No, Jonathan. Jonathan is actually a name I just plucked out of the Bible for myself years ago. Right. Because I had reason to get rid of my birth name. I want to thank Maria very much for this wonderful magazine, Paterson Literary Review, for all the decades. And even for an event like this is very rare. Events like this used to happen more often, you know. And sure, as I can continue to get published more and more, they became less and less. Okay, so I'm going to read one poem, and it's a It's a short poem, so that's why I'm doing a little talking. But as I've gotten older, I realize I don't, or even if at any point of one's life, I think we all remember moments, not days. And I certainly do. I remember moments. And some moments are particularly striking, and they stick with you, or they make a vast impact at the time. So this short poem is one of those moments, but it took me years to realize just why it was so profound for me at the time, until for me to get honest enough about myself to write it. I had an earlier version, but it just wasn't the truth. It was the truth, but it wasn't the truth. This is called In My Hands. Okay, girls, I say as we cross the gridlocked street, let's hold hands. 7-year-old's hand in my left hand, 7-year-old's hand in my right hand. My niece and her friend will be safe. Her friend looks up at my stern face and laughing says, "You hold tight." "I know," I reply. Swirls of rainbow sprinkled custard cones at Carvel. One per girl. The guy serving us asks, "And for yourself, sir?" "Nothing." Going back, I can't help but feel good, whole, even happy, as I again get to say, "Okay, girls, let's hold hands."
Okay, and next is Diane Corey. And Diane, wait a second. Diane Corey's poems have appeared in the Paterson Literary Review, Louisiana Literature, Sacred Journeys, and Art Times. She also enjoys writing fiction and has had winning entries in the annual New Jersey Wordsmith Competition. Let's welcome Diane Corey.
Thank you, Maria. Last year during National Poetry Month, I was using prompts from Quill's Edge Press, and I made a commitment to myself that I was going to write a poem each day. One day, and I did that, but one day the prompt was, write an ode to your favorite pair of shoes. And my reaction was, that's awfully stupid. And I didn't know what I was going to do. But then I thought about it, and I remembered this. Ode to cork sandals. I walked on cork platforms that summer, white leather straps crossing my bare feet. I strode as if on air in those sandals, the breeze curling around my toes, the cork cushioning my soles. I was happy that summer, delighting in my increased height, discovering I could reach higher than my 61-inch stature usually allowed. Was it the shoes that gave me that lofty sense, those sandals I loved and longed to wear again? Perhaps I loved even more the man who filled the space beside me that happy summer long ago when I walked on cork platforms as if on air. Thank you.
Now that Diane mentioned shoes, I was thinking to myself, I've never written a poem about shoes, but I just got an email from the Writer's Almanac, and they're going to read Bell Bottoms and Platform Shoes, a poem of mine, which I couldn't remember at all, on Writer's Almanac on November 17th. And I'm thinking, I don't remember the poem. It's a little disturbing that you can't remember your own poem. Okay, our next reader is going to be Annie Lanzillato, and Annie is a poet, author, singer, songwriter, and performance artist. Her publications include L is for Lion, an Italian Bronx Butch Freedom memoir from SUNY Press, a Lambda Lit Award finalist. It's now available in audiobook form on audible.com, and Shish Song Poems from Bordighera Press. Her new blues album, Swamp Juice, is available on iTunes, and she has a webpage, www.annielanzillato.com. Let's welcome Annie with all her energy and loveliness. Give me a hug, honey.
Love you.
Love you too.
Maria, it's so great to be here. And I just want to thank Maria for all the inspiration and for upholding narrative as a value. You know, seriously. There's nobody left to talk to now that Tony and Uncle Frank are gone. Their hoarse Italian voices, their wild brown eyes, I miss their vowels, steeped in their Bronx and Brooklyn. Hey, ee, oh, yo, you, yeah, you, huh? Yeah, you, what? Huh? I'm talking to you. Their clasp and shake of my hand, back, shoulder, all the words they told me, the streets they knew. Back doors, dumbwaiters, ice chutes, shortcuts, every pothole from Flatbush to Bruckner. The stories of old New York corners, thick with laughter and car grease rainbows and puddles. The people they raised full vino glasses to and swallowed hard. Tony, who without a stomach ate a Coney Island Nathan's hot dog and fries to show his cugini di Piacenza a once-in-a-lifetime great Brooklyn time. He knew he'd throw it up later, but still, he loved the moment of that hot dog going down. And Uncle Frank, who, without Jesus, what organs did he have left? Still, he ate sausage and peppers and broccoli rabe. Still, he sweat hot cherry peppers, fork in one hand, hanky in another. Organs gone, halves of organs gone, parts of him stitched up to other parts. How did he keep on eating and drinking and celebrating every breath and meal and every table setting? Rare men bridge worlds. There's nobody left to talk to that reminds me of my father's ways and world and mores, or my father's hands' knowledge, pipe cutters that they were. They left the precise shine of cut copper, fresh sliced, on all of us. Maybe in other countries, in other languages, where neighborhoods are still self-contained as ditches or ravines, but not here, not now, not for me, no more. There's nobody left to talk to in New York. Now there's just apologists, people who say, I'm sorry, as soon as they meet you. With a veneer of politeness shellac. They bunk into you in the grocery store, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. What happened to hello? My father never apologized to nobody about nothing. What would they say, Tony or Uncle Frank or my father Joe, to these I'm sorry people in New York today?
Annie, it's such an original, I love you. Okay, the next poet is going to be Elizabeth Marchetti from Totowa, New Jersey, and she's had poems published in the Paterson Literary Review, Lips, the Journal of New Jersey Poets. In 2010, she won first prize in St. Catherine's annual event, I don't know, St. Catherine's annual event is what I'm reading here. In 2013, she got an honorable mention in the Allen Ginsberg contest, and in 2015 was an editor's choice. Let's welcome Betty Marchetti, Elizabeth Marchetti.
Thank you, Maria. The annual event at St. Catherine's is an art, photography, and poetry exhibition. And I've been in it for years and winning prizes, and I don't know. The poem that I won for was called The Music Tree. And I have a book coming out from Finishing Line Press. It's actually out now. It's called Growing Old Disgracefully. And sometimes I feel a little bad because my poems are so personal. Everybody is thinking about improving the world and and I'm thinking about, well, improving me. I think I should give up exercise. I think I have given up exercise, unless you count the trip from the living room where I sit, feet up, reading, to the kitchen where my new washer-dryer hums, doing its job with grace. Silence tells me the dryer has stopped. It's time to fold the laundry. I stand to do that, make a neat pile of towels and t-shirts, return to my lounge chair and my novel, feet up. I think I have given up exercise, unless you count trips to JCPenney's, Barnes & Noble, or the Totowa Public Library, unless you count the long walk down the aisle at the Paper Mill Playhouse, or the short walk, after John has parked the car, to the Montclair Public Library, or the Hamilton Club in Paterson to attend poetry readings. I think I have given up exercise, unless you count how happily I jump up and walk to the podium to read at various open mics. And the next stanzas, of course, I wrote this in 2015, but I tried to do the same thing this year. Soon I will swim in the heated indoor pool at the Bird in Hand Family Inn in Amish Country, Pennsylvania. This is so easy, so much fun. Can it be called exercise? In June, I will swim in the outdoor heated pool at the Beachcomber Resort in Avalon, 3 Mile Island. This is too easy to be called exercise. I will exercise my brain by reading Murakami, Alice Hoffman, and the poems of those poets I love. It's time to slow down, relax, to grow old disgracefully. And let me add what a pleasure it is to be in the Paterson Literary Review, and I must never take it for granted. Thank you, Maria.
Our next reader is Sheila Masoni, and just a second, and I'll come to the M's. Okay, Sheila lives with her wonderful husband, Mike, and he is a wonderful husband, and 2 rescued cats in Hackensack, New Jersey. She has a PhD from the State University of New York at Binghamton. Besides literature, she enjoys Scandia, mystery novels, and books on the natural sciences, rocks, and geology. Let's welcome Sheila O'Neill Masoni.
This is my husband, Mike. Say happy birthday. He was 71 yesterday.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank Maria and Laura because they're the reason I write. Title of this is Mother. My mother, Dorothea Joan DeHart O'Neill, went to Montclair State Normal School. I found out during the dinner screaming match my parents had every night that she didn't graduate. Why? Well, she did her student practicum in Lincoln School, Lyndhurst, her hometown, and she couldn't control the class. So I promoted her. I graduated her in her obituary, which I wrote, how to strong-arm the Bergen record jerks who kept insisting that they would only accept obits from the funeral director. My mother had read The American Way of Death, told me to read it. Both my parents wanted their bodies donated to science. I had a massive breakdown in my third year of college and had to withdraw. I finished 9 months later, and by the way, also got pregnant and married, had a baby in July, and went right back to school. Didn't want to, but my former father-in-law encouraged me. Said if I dropped out, I'd never go back. Thud. Then I did my master's while toiling for the telephone company. I got 100% tuition. From 93 to 95, I worked full-time, subbed in 7 different public schools in Bergen County on weekdays, and the telephone companies on my day off. Entertained my widowed mother on weekend days off. She and Mike were like mother and son. During my doctorate, my daughter and only child was murdered. I took off less than a year and finished. So how's that for a one-man band story? And if you remember anything about me today, my daughter was a victim of domestic violence. Remember this, there is no excuse for abuse. Thank you.
Sheila survives with her sense of humor intact. Our next reader is Lisa Cole-Nicolau, and Lisa is a writer who lives and teaches in New Jersey. Currently, she is pursuing an MFA in poetry at Drew University. Her poetry and prose have been published in various journals, including the Paterson Literary Review and Lips. In 2016, she shared first prize in the Allen Ginsberg Poetry Award. Let's welcome Lisa Cole-Nicolau. Amazing electric poet.
And the best part is I got to drive Maria's car and press all those buttons.
Oh, God, all those stupid
And we
buttons.
laughed so hard.
But we couldn't figure out how to work it.
But it didn't matter. It didn't matter. It's such a pleasure to be here and to hear all of these poems. I'm very intimately acquainted with this particular journal because I had a terrible bout of jet lag this summer. I think it lasted the summer, or else I'm getting really old and don't sleep. So I just kept this by my bed and just read it. So usually 3 to 5 a.m. The words were good then, but better in daylight. So thank you, everybody. And since I told that story, I'll tell this one. Diane mentioned the ode, and I realized it wasn't so long ago that I was at a Dodge teacher workshop organized, I think 7 years ago, when Laura Boss was my teacher, and it was the first time they let teachers do writing, not just reading. And I signed up with Laura, and I wrote an ode to my silver clogs, which was the first poem I wrote about, I guess 5, 6, 7 years ago. Anyway, to be here with all of you people, it's just a miracle and a gift that I certainly appreciate. I know everybody in this room appreciates all of this. This poem is called Sea of Strays. The Vietnam vets keep ringing, urging me to donate. I'm grateful for their constant attention since my dead friends no longer call. Lugging bags to the front porch, I try to conjure the neighborhood boys, hoping to drink in their noise like sunshine. Behind this facade of order lurks that cascading basket in the darkness of the laundry, filled with a sea of single socks, a mateless porpoise from a visit to Mystic, Minnie lost without her Mickey, stranded after decades. In the silence of the late afternoon, that lonely stretch once filled with backpacks blocking the door and the comforting cacophony of screen doors slamming, demands for snacks, and the play-by-play retelling of the day, I brave the basement stairs, stare at the photos of my missing friends and a makeshift altar of postcards, photos, and folded notes. Try to make pairs from the strays, forcing a match to make me feel complete. Thank you.